they have their place. But character shouldn't be discounted. In The Wizard of Evesham, the murderer's motivation was jealousy, but greed, lust, revenge, or even the protection of a secret are all possible motives for a killer. As yet, I haven't murdered anyone, but I've been known to give killer looks to my students who I catch daydreaming. Jane looked pointedly at Alex, whose eyes had glazed over. After everyone had a chuckle, Jane continued, "Honestly, I can't imagine a circumstance that would induce me to kill anyone, but I'd hazard a guess. We all know someone who that might not be true for." "I think most married men would agree they know someone who regularly looks at them with murder in their eyes." Drew Fletcher, a retired pharmacist, flinched under his wife's glare after making the comment. Alex's gaze lingered on the couple, and Maggie was indeed giving Drew a death stare. But Alex had to agree. Men did seem to bring out the worst in some women. Her own brief marriage right out of college had ended in part because her ex-husband had been more interested in partying than creating a lasting relationship with his spouse. She, in turn, had become the worst version of herself, complaining all the time. Less than a year after their vows, they'd parted ways. Sensing a pause in the discussion and wanting to end the meeting on time, Alex stood. "Thank you, Jane, for your presentation. I'm sure we'll all be looking at each other much more suspiciously from now on. Thanks to the rest of you for braving the cold this frosty Monday evening. Once again, I apologize for rescheduling book club and the conflict it created with the Horticultural Society's meeting for some of you. If I'm not mistaken, there were a few noses sniffing the air, no doubt detecting the aroma of chocolate. Hannah made more of December's featured chocolates, including Candy Cane Conian, a subtly flavored white chocolate peppermint ganache with crushed candy canes in a white chocolate shell. Samples of those and a few others are on the counter." The book and chocolate shop was located in the quaint village of Harriston, nestled along the southwest shore of Echo Lake in the Rocky Mountains of Montana. Alex had purchased the building for a song 3 years earlier, as the previous owners had long before moved to Florida and were desperate to sell. With a great deal of hard work, she and her identical twin sister Hannah had turned the antiquated home, built in 1926, from an outdated quilt and fabric store into an homage to the Victorian era of the early 20th century. The store allowed their customers to escape the modern world for a short time. The 2 front rooms, with the entry hall between, constituted the sales floor. The smaller east room had a bay window with a built-in bench, covered in a heavy striped fabric of ruby red, ochre, and green that matched all the curtains. At the end of the hall was a large kitchen where their handcrafted cocoa confections were created. Sleuth met in a room off the hall, adjacent to the east room, that had likely been the library or den when the house was built. Alex gestured to the counter in the main room, where the chocolates and other goodies had been laid out. "Please help yourselves before you go, and Merry Christmas, everyone." She stepped aside into the hall as the group stampeded toward the treats. It was like watching the running of the bulls in Pamplona. It always amazed Alex how the offer of free food turned the most civilized individuals into a horde of wildlife. Only Jane stayed behind, and Alex wondered if she was about to be chastised for not paying attention. That had happened often enough in school when she was growing up in Michigan. Barely of average height, Jane had an imposing presence that could just as easily corral a roomful of grown men as a class of elementary school children